Welcome to this week's episode of the Compliance Digest, presenting topics on all things compliance related. My name is Alex Krenke, and as we get closer and closer into fall, you may have noticed that the conference season is finally upon us. Quest CE was fortunate enough to be able to attend the SILA National Conference in New Orleans a couple weeks ago. In addition, we had another team out in Chicago at the IRI conference, and then I just returned from Washington, D.C., where I was attending the NSCP conference. So it's really busy here right now at Quest, and I know that we really appreciate the opportunity if you had a chance to stop by the booth and say hello and pick up some swag. Thanks for doing so. Today I'm joined by Jenny Greene, who's going to talk about the SILA conference, which is in New Orleans, because we were both fortunate enough to actually attend it. So Jenny, overall, what were your thoughts on the SILA conference?
You know, I always think the SILA conference is a great conference. And reflecting back on it, when I came back, I think it is because we bring together the state insurance board members, which is hard to get them all in the same place at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then you're bringing FINRA and the licensing and registration departments. And what's nice is you're focusing on how to help and streamline all these different state rules and regulations for the licensing and registration department. In a few of the sessions, I saw everyone as the state updates were happening. They were busy jotting down all these updates on legal pad and flipping pages and being concerned so that when they go back to the office, they can make the updates and they can use those in those everyday jobs. So it's an exciting conference to go to.
It really is a unique opportunity because I think it allows us to get a full snapshot of the entire industry from a state-by-state standpoint. I know they have that broken out. And then now that it's starting to make a lean towards the security side, I think what we're seeing is that there's, sessions dedicated to FINRA, and they talk about the things they've rolled out with CRD or with EFT. And on the state level, I think we learned a lot of really good information that we're able to take back and give to our clients. I know we're always kind of looking for trends, something to look out for. Was there any trends that you noticed as far as the states go or that FINRA went? Any big hot button issues that came up?
I think one of the biggest rules that they're dealing with is the new navigator line of authority. So the states are interpreting it, making their own rules, and the licensing and registration departments are starting to get their arms around it. Mm-hmm. That was on the state insurance side. They always have updates on like CE being updated or different from their board meetings. So, for example, Alex, the state of California next year in 2014 is going from a 4-hour ethics requirement to a 3-hour for life health insurance license. And the compliance monitoring of OBAs and the FINRA securities track of that program was a very hot topic. I think a big thing, though, that I noticed is CE is not easy. The compliance is not easy. With all the different rules and regulations and everything that's in place, there is no uniformity. There is no set standard. And that is why you have these huge licensing and registration departments. And I go back to thinking about, last year in SILA we were talking about the annuity suitability requirements. Mm-hmm. Kind of an expectation that they'd be more uniform, the states, but they're not.
That brings up an excellent point. In 2010, I think we were all on the same page. We thought NAIC made this suitability recommendation, and they said by 2013 we want all 50 states on board. As a vendor, we thought for sure all 50 states will adopt this requirements. We will have a course out there that pushes the new recommendation and the training requirement out for nationwide, and it didn't really happen that way. The deadline rolled around, and about half the states made it. And from what we can tell, there's really no obligation of the remaining states to end up picking up that requirement. They rolled out the Harkin Amendment, which puts that requirement back again on the insurance carriers. And what we saw from a lot of the audience is that, and especially from the SILA organization, is that they're looking to try to make a sweeping change. They're looking to do some lobbying to get all the states on more of a national type of regulation. And I think from what we've seen and what history has told us is that's just not going to happen. It's just not very realistic to ask of the states or to even get the states and the SROs to agree. So I believe it's safe to say that there's no amount of lobbying from these insurance carriers, from these broker-dealers, that's going to get all of the states on one national set of guidelines. So the important thing from my perspective is that the insurance companies need to keep in mind what they are.
Insurance companies need to focus on who you are and what you are, and they're not compliance companies. They're not companies that stay on track of all of this and need to focus on it. That's why you come to a vendor. That's why you come to a compliancy expert. After sitting and listening to the industry, to the people doing this in-house, managing OBAs on spreadsheets and trying to put together an attendance sheet for a national CE event, that's a lot of manual work. That's a lot of keeping track of all the different state rules. And why do they want to do that? That sort of mess you don't need to think about.
Right.
We have the CE compliance down, vendors do. Let them help you. Hire them to help you. And you can put in service level agreements. You can put in any type of customer service standards that you need so that you know that what they're giving you is accurate and up to date and you can hold them to it. Mm-hmm. I think the thing that I hear a lot is people that have bought in overgrown or outdated technology and they don't have the IT resources to keep it up to date with all these new rules and regulations. Mm-hmm. So I think when you do your ROI and you look back, you just really need to understand what your purpose is mm-hmm. and make that your focus.
So just to close out today's video, I do want to talk about, I think, a really cool example came up when we were at SILA. We were at one of the securities breakout sessions, and the man leading the discussion worked at a very large insurance company and was talking about when their company went from using their homegrown technology to outsourcing to a vendor. And he said that they were doing their due diligence and that they were looking at how much it was costing them to develop these solutions in-house. And they finally had to ask themselves, are we an insurance firm or are we a technology firm? And ultimately they answered the question, we're an insurance firm. And that was the first time, I believe, that they started to outsource different components to people who specialize in those areas. And I think what we're seeing here is that the age of wanting to keep everything in-house and having your staff take care of all your training and your tracking and staying on top of all the state changes, we're past that now. We're looking to experts and specialists. So our message out there, and it may come off as a little bit biased, but we really do believe in it, is that when you outsource specific functions like this, it's not harming your company. It's actually enhancing it because it's allowing you to be great at what you do and letting us be great at what we do. Well, Jenny, I really do appreciate you stopping by and helping us overview this SILA conference. I know a lot of our audience, a lot of our clients didn't get a chance to attend, so it's always great. We always think it's a great conference to learn a lot about the states and the regulators. So thanks for debriefing that with us.
Thank you.
So that'll wrap it up for this week. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple weeks for another exciting episode of the Compliance Digest.